Hello, this is John D. Bain. Today is Tuesday, April the 28th, 2015. Will God ever place more upon His children than they can bear? We often hear people say, well, God will never place more on you than you can bear, or God is never, He's always promised to never place more on us than we can bear. But you know, that's actually not what the Bible says, and it's a ridiculous statement. That's like saying, well, I'm never going to die. Nothing is ever going to happen to me. I'm never going to be involved in a plane crash, or my ship is never going to sink. I'm never going to be in an automobile collision. I'm not ever going to be killed by a disease or by a terrorist. That there is nothing that can come up in my life that is going to destroy me or take my life. It's like saying, I'm never going to be defeated. I'm never going to fail. I'm never going to fall. I'm never going to sin. I'm never going to make a mistake. Well, all of these things may or may not be things that God places upon us, but let me assure you that God may require everything you have at some point in your life. As a matter of fact, I have a book entitled Unbearable Cross. Jesus is our ultimate example, and before He was crucified, before He endured the cross, He found that He was unable to bear His cross. You see, Jesus couldn't carry His cross through the streets of Jerusalem on the Via Dolorosa. A man named Simon from the country of Cyrene was compelled to bear His cross for Him. Let me read the introduction here to you, and maybe it'll make some difference. The book is dedicated to Dr. John W. Hamilton, who was my father in the ministry, of whom God required everything and more. Dr. Hamilton died in a plane crash as he and his brother were traveling on their way back from Decatur back to where they lived after visiting Alabama for the funeral of a family member. Paul the Apostle says in 2 Corinthians 1:8, I don't want you to be unaware of the terrible trouble that I found myself in while we were in Asia. We were crushed with a pressure that can't even be measured, he says. It was greater than our strength. We wished that we could die. Paul says, among other things, that we must learn to bear one another's burdens or to help each other, because sometimes God places upon us things that are heavier than we can carry by ourselves. That's what the fellowship of the church is about. We need each other's strength. I hope that you will get this book and read it, because there may have been times when you've been crushed, or you've seen someone whose life has literally been brought to nothingness in their service to God. Read this book, Unbearable Cross. Yes, in our lives we're going to face difficult things. We will ultimately face at least something, maybe just even one thing, maybe the final thing, that will be more than we can survive, more than we can live beyond, more than we can bear. Check this out. If you would, go to johndbain.com and check out the bookshelf. You'll see Unbearable Cross there in the list. Just click on that icon and it will take you to a better description of the book, and you'll see there also a button to click to take you to my site, my author's page on Amazon.com. Just look for Unbearable Cross in the list of books that are along the banner at the top there. Click on it, and you'll see there a place where you can order it for your Kindle. If you'd like to have the audio version, I read the book myself, and you can order it in MP3s or burned to CDs. Or if you'd like to read the book on your computer, I can send it to you by email in a PDF version. Unbearable Cross. Let me go back to that image on the front page again, because I believe it's very poignant. Jesus realized, as He prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane, that He was not going to survive the cross. Of course, you know, the resurrection didn't undo the cross. It didn't negate the cross. It didn't mean that the cross did not happen. Jesus not only died on the cross, but He called all the people in the world who would ever follow Him to be cross bearers as well. There is a cross that we're required to carry, but sometimes God requires more of us than we have to give. Sometimes He wants not only what we are and who we are, but all that He's given us and all that He's made us, more than we are. combination of who He is in us, and He might one day ask it all. We need to be willing to give that and not hold back because we think He might be some way He might prevent Himself, or He might draw back a little bit before asking our all. He may do this because it is His prerogative, because you see He gave His all for us.